most local unions, they're run by the teachers, and they're already doing a lot of this stuff. In a lot of instances, especially in smaller unions, there's not really a huge additional burden that takes place. Well, as you all, I'm sure, know, AFT and NEA are very similar. They have a lot of the same politics and structure. They're very, top-down. They want to tell you what to do. So switching between one and the other doesn't generally make a lot of difference. You may have slightly different, leadership on a more local level, but there's not a big difference, usually a huge difference there. And then also, unions are different from normal companies. They, the normal rules of economics don't apply to them. So they have all these, handshake agreements with each other that basically say, we're AFT, we're going to take this region, this area, we're NEA, we're going to have this area, and never the two shall meet. So, so they have these handshake agreements, and they'll say, if a group wants to move from AFT to NEA, oftentimes they'll tell them no. I haven't heard of an instance where they said yes, but yeah. So that's kind of how that works. It's not really done. So, and I think those who have started a local independent union would say, why would you want to? Because they're just so much happier doing what they, doing their own thing instead of just switching from one national to another.
So if we're talking about creating a union from scratch, an independent, unaffiliated labor organization that exists in a single district just to represent the educators in those districts, that sounds pretty difficult, building a union from scratch. What does the process look like? How difficult is it? What is involved in getting an entity like this off the ground to put it through this administrative process, to have a vote and hopefully win? But what do you need to do? What does it look like?
So the process is definitely doable. This happens all the time. It's something that it does take some work on the front end, but then once everything is set up, it's not too terribly difficult to maintain. But there is, an administrative process that needs to take place. Some states require that a employee organization be registered before it can become the certified bargaining agent. So there may be a registration process that's involved, and it does involve creating a nonprofit organization. So it doesn't have to be super complicated or anything like that, but you do have to have, bylaws, a constitution, a board, and, just regular board meetings and things like that. But, for groups that are already, doing most local unions, they're run by the teachers, and they're already doing a lot of this stuff. In a lot of instances, especially in smaller unions, there's not really a huge additional burden that takes place. Another thing to mention is that, the nationals will have their own insurance. So oftentimes locals will contract with the AAE or Christian educators or another group to get insurance like that to kind of cover that gap there. But yeah, so whatever benefits that employees want, the independent local will take care of that when it comes to, the insurance, but then other, of course, as we've already talked about, your health care and all of those other benefits are through the employer, but, just discounts, stuff like that, that would be something that the independent local would do. But the benefit there is that there's a lot more say in what the union offers because it's being run by the teachers. So there's a lot of flexibility to do really whatever the teachers want, and at a much lower cost than if you were to be in just a normal local that has a state and a national affiliate where, there's a huge chunk of money that's going into politics. A lot of the independent local unions, they don't put any money into politics. They say if you want to go give to, a political, a politician or something, you can go do that, but we don't need to spend our union money on it. So that's another great point, is that, it's at a much lower cost. So there is an administrative process that has to take place, and then some upkeep that occurs. But I would say probably more work on the front end, and then it's just kind of a maintenance thing after that. The independent local would do negotiations when it comes time to negotiate new contracts. So, there's opportunities to work with a local attorney like Brad, or, finding someone in your area who is familiar with how, how the state laws work and how the collective bargaining process works and all of that, and who can help. But again, that there is a cost to that, of course, but it's much lower than, the cost to be involved with these larger unions. So.